Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Please like and subscribe and share with friends, colleagues, relatives, associates, enemies, any and all in between. It's all appreciated. I don't quite know what we're going to call this. It's not quite an episode and it's not really a basis talks either. It's a bit of an amalgamation. I guess you might say it's maybe it's like a day in review. I don't really do things often outside of my usual sphere of content, but I figured, I guess maybe because yesterday was such an interesting talking point, get a couple points off and display some of the interviews that I did do. There was only a couple that I managed to get on camera. I did have opportunities to do some others, but you know, it was just one of those situations where I didn't really want to force it, and certain people I'd seen, they had done like tens and tens of interviews. I said, no, do you know what, let me leave it, especially the people that I had prior relationships with. If I really want to, I can interview them at other times or through other means. Also, just let you know, if you do hear any background noise or anything like that, having my bathroom sort of reworked at the moment, so yeah, apologies, but hopefully you won't hear too much of that. But yeah, ultimately I guess we want to start off and just talk about I got to the event a bit later than I wanted to. If I'd have got there probably 4:30, I might have got another 2 or 3 interviews done, probably for Undisputed channel. But yeah, when I sort of got in there, just the amount of different kind of press that I saw there was interesting. I mean, I know people like IFL, for instance, had like, I think there was about 4 different people from the IFL team there. There was like 3 or 4 different people from Boxing Social, about 3 from Seconds Out. So all of the bigger channels, like, basically just had everyone there. Which I guess, you know, in some ways you say to yourself, it's a bit of a that makes it harder for then, I guess, the other channels who is just one up, you know, myself, the October Reds, you know, sort of Rack Noble and sort of those type of people. It's a little, you know, harder to kind of maybe get the access, because they're always sort of just flittering around and being able to sort of diversify. But that is what the channels are based on. All good, no worries. But yeah, as soon as I walked in, the first person I saw was Ajit Kabayel. The second person I saw was Todd Grisham. That obviously is always going to kind of be a trip to me, for someone who watches, used to sort of watch WWE when he was a host to it back in the day. Obviously Jonathan Coachman sometimes done stuff on the zone as well. So yeah, that's just kind of a weird thing. Adam Smith was right in front of me as soon as I walked through the doors of the OVO, and it was just one of those interesting moments. But yeah, it all seemed like something where, okay, there's a big event taking place, but it didn't quite feel like it was a big event initially. Do you know what I mean? Like when we did the Fury versus Ngannou, like opening press like that, that had a much different feel to it. This one, I think it's maybe because it was kind of put together quite hastily. Like there wasn't much prep that kind of went into it, I guess, considering it happened 2 weeks, they've maybe arranged everything. So yeah, it didn't have that. It felt very more sort of hectic and chaotic and put together, but it didn't seem like it was this big grandiose event up until obviously you see the big banner and the, you know, the Day of Reckoning and all these names and stuff on it. Then it's okay, you thought to yourself, yeah, cool. Yeah, that was all my initial thoughts of it. Press conference happened. Obviously, you guys know what happened. Press conference, Jarrell Miller stole the show of the press conference, which is kind of what he was supposed to do. And I guess obviously you got to take your moments as and when they come. Prior to him, you had Derek Chisora basically stealing the show, being the ad-lib king behind everyone else. So the two of them just going back and forth in tandem was rather interesting. And speaking of Jarrell Miller, I did manage to get an interview with him, a very, very short one, but it was, he literally just finished doing an IFL interview. He was supposed to be going over to the zone. I managed to grab him for a minute. I was I was trying to eke it out a little bit longer, but I knew I wouldn't get extra time. So take a look at the couple of the questions I asked him, and yeah, we'll come back in a moment.
This is Basic Kid, the Hardcore Casual, in association with Undefeated Podcast, proudly sponsored by Disturbance Sports London. I'm delighted to be joined by Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Got to keep it brief. How did you feel the press conference went, and how were you looking at Daniel Dubois right about now?
How did I feel about the press conference? It was boring until they finally gave me the opportunity to speak on the mic. That's what I do. I steal the show all the time. No matter if it's a press conference or I'm talking to your girl, I'm gonna steal something. You know what I mean? So that's what I do best. And like I said, it was still a good atmosphere. It's just that, like I said, these guys are. I think everybody's a little nervous on that stage, really. I got kind of like a nervous vibes here and there, you know. But like I said, I'm going to be myself and, you know, liven it up. Give the people what they want.
What does Daniel Dubois do that you got to worry about, and what has he got to worry about from you?
I mean, Daniel Dubois has a good right hand. He has a good jab. He's a heavyweight. Anybody 180, 190 can knock anybody out. So I got to give him a respect. And I'm not sleeping on him, like I said. So at the end of the day, I'm coming here. I'm going to train my ass off for the next 5 weeks, and I'm going to go in there and knock his lights the fuck out.
All right, last one for me. Have you got a message for Daniel or anyone else that may have been up on that card today?
Well, Daniel Dubois, I thank you for signing a contract. You are as dumb as you look. Thank you so very much. Have a good day.
Cheers, Jarrell.
Yeah, so I put on Twitter, like, yesterday, Jarrell Miller, if for nothing else, is fantastic for press conferences, and ultimately he's similar. Trevor Bryan also was pretty good at sort of press conferences and stuff. Like, I guess it's a New York thing, like a Brooklyn thing, most probably. But yeah, no, it was, you know, the energy was right throughout. He's got choice words for, you know, everyone. I mean, we all saw the press conference. You know, it started, gave Daniel Dubois shots, but it was mainly, you know, the venom is still there for Anthony Joshua. That I'm sure that fight has to take place at some point before both of their careers is over. And if he beats Daniel Dubois, then there's no reason why that can't happen at some point. You know, because he'll still have a, you know, an O on his record. It still will be looked at as a fight that garners interest, and ultimately it's always going to garner interest because everyone remembers the old press conferences and everyone remembers the fact that they didn't get to see that gloves are off. So you would have to do another one, like, what would it be now, 5 years, 6 years later, by the time it takes place. That would definitely be something to see. So big ups to him. I saw a few people, spoke to a few people off camera, both Ellis Zorro and Jayo Pataya. I spoke to them both separately at separate times. Obviously, shout out to both of them. Shout out to Mick Francis as well. Spencer Ferron, spoke to Spencer real quick, and I was actually fortunate enough finally to get the opportunity to speak to Fabio Wardley, like, on camera. So if you had seen anything before, like, I've spoken to him a few times off camera. I'm trying to sort out for him to come on the breakdown show on the Undefeated Podcast. We did speak about it. He actually said, yeah, look, let's kind of get something locked in. Now he doesn't have a fight date penciled in. Hopefully I can get him on there before the end of the year. But with that being said, have a look at that interview that we done. It was a nice little sort of 5-6 minutes. He would have done longer, but I did appreciate he'd been hosting all day. So yeah, always gotta respect people that give you their time, and yeah, take a look.
This is Basic Kid, the Hardcore Casual, in association with the Undefeated Podcast, proudly sponsored by Disturbance Sports London, and I'm delighted to be joined by multi-belt holder at this point, Fabio Wardley. Fabio, look, it's amazing to have you on the show. Thank you very much for giving us your time. What did you think of this event, first of all? And if your one was big, like, what do you crown this one?
Yeah, I think they just keep getting bigger and better. I thought this from the start, to be honest, that once they do a few shows and things, it's only going to keep moving. They're just going to look at the show they did previously and go, right, their mentality is always, right, what more can we do on this? How more can we add to it? So it's going to be crazy to see the fight weight for this fight. I'm sure that's going to be like much bigger than even mine one was. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next few months or years, however, that what they end up putting on.
And if we take it to your fight now, because obviously this was great for that, but we want to give you your plaudits. 7th round KO victory over David Adilier. Now, talk to us about just in that fight, how did things pan out? Did they sort of pan out the way you wanted? Did you have to make any adjustments, or how did you feel in there?
No, it actually all went very much according to plan, to be honest. He came out how he thought he was going to come out. He fought how he thought he was going to fight as well, and everything kind of just went along the line. Everything was... I was speaking with the team after, and it almost just felt like a drill session, because everything we'd practiced in the gym and gone over with, it all turned up on the night, all the moments and things we thought were going to appear and all the opportunities they did. So that's why the fight felt really comfortable for me, to be honest. It felt like a really good, solid performance, and then ticked it off with a nice win at the end.
Did he have much power? Did you feel any of the shots, or was everything like, no, this is comfortable, just keep working?
No, there was some power there, definitely. I felt his shots. I'm not going to say that he can't hit, but there was nothing that particularly concerned me. I'm going to be wary of every heavyweight that fights, but like it doesn't matter to me, especially with him. As the rounds went on and things, it faded, and I got more and more comfortable and more into the fight.
So being that currently you're a promotional free agent, but you've done a lot of good work in Matchroom in the past. You've had a very good experience with Queensbury by all rights now. I'm assuming you're probably done for the rest of this year, but looking to maybe kick on sometime early next year. What's sort of the plans for you moving forward, and what is kind of in the pipeline?
We haven't done nothing really set in stone. We haven't had any real concrete conversations about anything. We're just talking. We're seeing what's going on, seeing what fighters are around, what good fights are out there, what shows people have planned for early next year, and then going from there with it.
Okay, last couple from me. So I've heard you say that you are sort of looking at maybe one more domestic or around that level before kicking onto European to ultimately eventually get into world titles. So with that being said, look, there's a plethora of heavyweights that are around at the moment. Who have you particularly got your eye on domestically, or is it just a case of whoever comes up with the most money?
There's no particular person I have my eyes on. I think more so it's in reverse. I think a lot of people are hunting me now, which is all right. It makes things a bit easier when I want to put fights together. I think the obvious two is Fraser Clark and Sold Acres. There, if I'm going to stay at British level, it'll be one of those two. Probably my preference of the lot would be Fraser. I think it's a better fight. It's a bigger fight. It makes more sense. But it'd be one of those two, and then either way we figure it out from there, really, because I've earned my stripes more, so it's these guys now coming up and they want to chase me down. So if they're easy enough to put together, then I'm happy for it to be done.
Okay, last one from me. So there's been rumours that Anthony Joshua might potentially be working with Ben Davison in his next fight, and then going back to Derek James after that. Now, you've had Ben Davison in your camp for a little while now. What has he added to you, and sort of what advantages does he bring to you, and then how do you think that ultimately would translate for Anthony Joshua to take him on for this one-time occasion, if that's how it plans out?
Every fight is different, and what they need from a trainer is different as well. The same way Ben trains me, he doesn't train Lee Wood the same, he doesn't train like Royston the same, the other boys in the gym. Us as fighters, we need different things. Now me, I obviously didn't have much of an amateur background, so I needed a broader knowledge of boxing as a whole, of little intricate things in boxing. I had the natural ability, I had the power and everything else in there, but I needed from Ben to teach me actually why I do certain things in the ring, what I'm looking for, what outcomes I want from certain situations, what situations are better for me to be in and worse for me to be in, and how I get into them or how I get out of them. There was a different understanding that I needed. Now, AJ comes from a much more well-rounded school of boxing from me, with being with the GB and whatever else, so he doesn't necessarily need that, but the wealth of knowledge that Ben has, he can help him with anything.
Okay, look, Fabio, thank you very much for your time, and I do look forward to getting you on the show. I will be speaking to you about that off camera, but yeah, thank you very much and all the best.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
So yeah, part of the reason why I didn't want to go too in depth and ask too many questions to Fabio is, again, because when we get him on the breakdown, which is what I'm hoping to do, within sort of the next 4 to 5 weeks, he can, we can really go more in depth, and it can have more content for the other platform rather than this one. This one's not really about all of that. So hopefully, when that does happen and that does take place, we'll expand more on not just that fight, but sort of everything kind of leading up, and hopefully have him on there for maybe a good 20-25 minutes just chopping it up and see what we can get to. But yeah, look, I'll leave it there. I gotta go and prep for the big event that is taking place. There's another press conference at 6 o'clock. Also, got to drop basis picks. The first one, there will be 2 parts. One will drop today and one will drop tomorrow. But without overstaying my welcome, thank you very much if you've made it this far. Appreciate you. Leave a comment down below if anything additional that you kind of want to see from me and from the channel moving forward. Let me know, and if I can do it, I'll do my best. Otherwise, yeah, look out for new episodes dropping, probably maybe one on Saturday. Weekend wrap will return this Sunday, and yeah, more content to follow. So till then, peace.